All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Throw That Dart. Very special guest today, Ramiro.
Hello everyone, Ramiro Braga here.
Ramiro, are you ready to play?
Throw that dart!
I'm ready to play Throw That Dart.
All right, what country are you aiming for?
Portugal.
You're aiming for Portugal.
Yes.
Pretty tiny on the globe.
Yeah, not the Azores Islands, because that would be extremely tiny. We're going to go for the continent this time.
All right, here we go. Ramiro, take that dart. Okay, Ramiro.
Throw that dart!
Okay, so what are you making today?
So today we're going to make a traditional soup. It's called Caldo Verde. A lot of people recognize this as the traditional wedding soup that you'll have at a Portuguese wedding. It's a very simple soup, a few ingredients, but very hearty. Everybody seems to love it. We have some very few simple ingredients. This is called collard greens, not to be confused with kale. Most Portuguese people will grow this in their backyards all year round, and it's a very hearty green. So it's got to be very, very thinly sliced. Actually, we don't even need all of it. We're just going to use this one big leaf here, and we're going to fold it up and we're going to shred it really, really thinly. The thinner the better. You want to get it so that once it cooks, it's almost like, kind of like angel hair pasta, if you will. It's supposed to be very, very, very thin.
Yeah.
Because you have to puree the potatoes, the other option, and I've heard people do it, is just using a masher and a whisk. Obviously, you won't get the potatoes to the same consistency as you will with a hand blender, but you can still do it, even if you're out on the campground. Okay, so I think that's enough for our purposes. Actually, let me just get rid of this stalk. So these collard greens are going to go into the pot of boiling water for about 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
Just to tenderize them, get them softened up a little bit. Then we're going to drain them and put them aside. They'll eventually go into the main soup. Okay, that looks good. So here we have a pot of boiling water. We're just going to throw, I've already put some salt in there. The recipe actually calls for half a teaspoon of salt, but we're doing half the recipe today. So I've only put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
We're going to let that boil for about 5 to 7 minutes. So as I mentioned earlier, we're only doing half the recipe. Typically this type of a soup will be used as an appetizer, an intro to your main course. So we're not going to make the full recipe today. This should help 3 to 4 people as a starter into your main meal. So we're doing half the recipe, which is 1 liter of chicken stock, 2 to 3 potatoes, 1 onion, 1 garlic, and one chorizo, Portuguese chorizo. I guess you could use Spanish, but this is a Portuguese chorizo. Half a teaspoon of salt. We're just gonna get everything ready and throw it into the pot. This one's a little bit easier because it's gonna get all blended, so you don't have to finely chop the onion or anything like that. We're just gonna...
So just coarse?
Yeah, we're just gonna quarter them and throw them in, and then afterwards it'll all get hand blended afterwards. The onions are gonna go into the pot. The chicken stock's already in. We're gonna throw the chorizo just the way it is.
Oh, just the whole thing
the whole
in like
thing.
that, eh? Wow, is that ever easy?
Yeah, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out. We're gonna cut it very thin slices, and then it'll go back into the soup. Next is the potatoes. We'll do that quick. So the potatoes can be halved. I like to do quarters. They cook faster and easier to blend. I know every family probably has a little bit of a different style when it comes to doing this.
And that's the beauty of these dishes, right? I mean, inside. Now, let me ask you, is this known throughout Portugal, or is it regional?
No, 100%. All throughout Portugal continent and in the Azores as well.
Right.
This is a very traditional soup. So caldo verde, caldo being like stock, broth, and then verde being green for the collard greens. So I'm going to put just 1/4 teaspoon of salt into there. Okay, and then lastly is the garlic. The garlic is to be minced. So those are cooking nicely. I didn't set a timer, but you can just see how
5 minutes, eh?
Yeah, they'll start to lilt a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna mince these up as best as I can. We're not looking for Michelin star quality here.
Sure we are. Come on.
Of course you are, yeah.
I see you have a little garden going in the background here.
Actually, yes. These particular collard greens that we're using here are from our garden. It's a very hardy vegetable, so it's from last year. Okay, I think that's pretty good.
Okay, and that goes in with the...
And that goes in here with the potatoes, the chorizo, the onion.
Wow. All right, Ramiro, what's next?
Okay, so the collard greens are officially boiled. We're just gonna drain them onto the kitchen floor here. That's a phrase you like to use. So I'm just gonna be protective with the little things here, and we're going to just drain that out. And as you can see, they've kind of wilted.
Yes,
and we're just gonna
that's the texture you want, right?
Yeah, we're just gonna put that aside, and then that'll eventually go back into the soup.
It almost looks like seaweed.
Yeah.
A little bit,
Yeah,
right? The
a little
texture
bit.
and the color.
Yeah, and to be honest, that could have been thinner.
Get a shot in there.
I'm gonna use my barbecue tong here to remove
Look at
the
that
chorizo.
baby.
Okay.
And that obviously is one of the staples in this dish.
So here's the thing, a lot of people, because it adds, this is a sweet chorizo, but you can also get spicy.
Okay.
Obviously, if you use the spicy, it's going to make the soup spicy.
Rolling.
So now we're just going to puree this down. As I said, if you were doing this out in a campground, you could always use a potato masher, I suppose, and a whisk. You'd have to cut the onions much smaller because you wouldn't have the ability to puree it with this, but still very possible. We're almost there. Once this is done, we throw everything back into the pot and the soup's ready.
Love it. I love simple recipes.
And it's all up to you. If you want more greens, you can put in more greens. If you want, this dish is known throughout Portugal, north, south. Okay, I think we're done with that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the chorizo, we're gonna mix it back into the pot. We're gonna take the greens, and we're gonna mix that back into the pot. And everything's back in, and now we're just gonna mix it all around.
Look at that. The greens, the chorizo.
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 There, you said it, perfect. Yeah, chorizo is, like I said, it's more the Spanish version.
Ah.
I'm gonna get your plate first here, Peter.
Look at that.
So, there's
Beautiful.
one.
Oh, that smells amazing too. I have not eaten yet today, so I am ready for this. Ah, nice.
And I just usually put,
Yeah, go nuts.
no,
There we go.
that's usually all I do.
Beautiful.
Just a small little
Could you
dab.
add a couple on my plate too?
You like spice?
I'm a hot pepper wimp, but I love this stuff. Caldo Verde from Portugal by Ramiro. This is fantastic.
Yeah, that little.
Chorizo.
Se você gosta desse programa, por favor, curta e inscreva-se no canal. Obrigado. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
All right, thank you for joining us for another episode of Throw That Dart. Special guest Ramiro. Your dish?
Caldo Verde.
I can't say it. He says it. I can't say it.
Caldo Verde. That's how
Verde.
that was it. Caldo Verde.
It's a classic Portuguese soup. Really easy to make. Really atypical of the country. So thank you very much for joining.
Thank you,
I'm
Peter.
going to eat more of this. Thank you all. I'll see you next week. All right, that's a wrap, dude. I'm so excited.